Hi, I just got back. Welcome to Tea Time. My name is Ashley Adamson, and I was thinking about this on my bike ride, so I wanted to kind of like cover it very immediately. And it's about the tragedy of being trans, this story that I think we fall into, being trans. Have you felt like sad for being trans? Has that happened to you? I feel like that's an obvious question to ask, but a question worth asking, because if you've never felt being sad because you're trans, this video is not for you. This video is about that sense of just deep well of tragedy, this story and narrative in the trans experience of just feeling absolutely horrible, not because you are trans, but because of the world you exist in as you are trans. And because of the world that we perceive to exist in, that narrative can be such a tragedy. How come my body isn't the way that it could be when the rest of the world, so many people, cis people, have the body that they want? And why do people treat me this way? Because I'm just the same person, but my genitals are different. You know, like those feelings that make you well up inside and cry and make you so sad and upset because of the fact that you are trans, you know? Or maybe it's just the label of being trans. Maybe you're just a regular person, right? That's what we'd really all like to be. So I had a really strong sense of this come up yesterday, and I've covered this a little bit, but I just want to note it for some of you, the new viewers who haven't seen this before. There are parts of ourselves that have different voices, and I call this within the framework of self-partnership. You are a partner to yourself, but there's many partners to yourself. We have the inner child, we have the get stuff done, we have the guilt and conscience aspect, and we have the happy joy aspect of ourselves too. And I think there's a part of ourselves that also feeds into the story and tells ourselves these sad narratives. Gosh, I'm so hot from biking. Am I like sweating? Ugh. Okay. This like sadness, this deep sadness. So I wanted to talk to you about how it came up for me yesterday as a way of sharing this and getting it out there to see what you think and also hear how your experience is. So my tragedy voice is something along the lines of, I'm not fit to be dated. I'm not fit for a mate. And a lot of my self-worth as a woman is also kind of like, there's a part of that that's related to being in a relationship. I think that it's so weird that when I was a cis guy, I didn't have a problem being single for 2 years. I didn't want to be single, but it wasn't really a problem. I just knew that I could just go get things done and eventually I would find someone. But once you're a woman, there's a couple things that happen to me. First of all, there's this time frame where suddenly your youth is only so long and there's this expected, like, you got to find someone. And I completely took that on. I don't know how that's been for you, but it's definitely been like a pressure. You know, that sense of like, you got to get your homework done or you got to get something done before something happens. There's this arbitrary threshold in my timeline where I hit a certain age and I feel like I'm just going to fall off the cliff and I'm not going to be able to find the partner that I'm looking for. And yeah, I don't need to be completed by any partner. And I think if I'm single for the rest of my life, I would find some kind of solace in figuring that out. But let's be honest, like, wouldn't we all be happy if we had a partner that accepted us and loved us and gave us the kind of attention that we deserve and love? And not every partner is going to give that to you, but we can give that to ourselves. Anyways, I digress. So let's talk about the tragedy. So very specifically, yesterday I was out on my date with this Brazilian guy I'm seeing, and we were holding hands, and I was giddy. I was like so happy because here I am dating this person for like a month and everything's going well. And I haven't dated a man for more than a month where things were going this well. So, you know, we were out there together and I was holding onto his arm and I was just so happy and kind of like feeling so good inside, like, oh, like here's this moment that I've wanted to have and I haven't had it, and here it is. I have this man, I have my man. And you know, there's other couples around and I feel like, you know, we can be like this couple right now. And we've talked about being a COVID couple and not necessarily having any potential long-term commitments, but just kind of going with it. And he suddenly said to me that he didn't feel comfortable. He wanted some space in terms of just like holding arms and holding hands. And when he said that, it kind of, it just like devastated me. Here I was feeling all of this joy, and suddenly it felt like it was taken away. And I know that's not what his intent was, but the immediate story that came to mind, this is the tragedy voice, was he doesn't want to be seen with a trans girl. You're not good enough. And at that point, it broke my heart, because that's the story that I fall into, and that's like my hole. You know, that's the thing that's my trap. That's what I fall into. Do you have that as well? Like, can you get triggered by that? And I just kind of like, usually when that happens, I'll just cry and express and kind of like go through that. But I decided to change my approach this time and not cry as much as I would usually do it. Like, there were definitely tears, and I just was like, I'm feeling emotional right now. I can't talk. That hole that we fall into. And I haven't completely processed it because I don't really know what there is to prevent or take away from this, except to stop believing that, except to stop believing the underpinning of that story. So it doesn't matter what the voice is. The voice will come up with another thing. Like, I haven't been telling myself that specific story every time, like that people don't want to see me in public. But I do tell myself the same story all the time, which is that I'm not worth because I'm trans. And in my own personal life without partners, I'm fine. Like, I'm worth it. You know, I have value. I can like create change and I can do things that are impactful for other people. I love doing that. And I love doing that with you. And I love sharing these things. But in my romantic world, there's that aspect, that there's that weakness. We all have weaknesses just as humans. But there's that very specific weakness that I feel like is unique to being trans, which is not feeling worthy. And if you're a trans woman, that's compounding, because now you're also like dealing with being a woman, which is hard enough, girls. Like, come on, let's be real. It's hard enough just being a woman, like being shown what body standards are, being shown what beauty is, being shown like, and told and expected to act certain ways. And then being trans, you layer on all of these things like passing and body and expression and all of these additional complexities, and some things you fundamentally can't change. Like, I cannot change some parts of my body. And then you get that little like social interaction. So I just want to end this story on a positive note, which is I talked to him after that and we kind of deconstructed it, and basically it has nothing to do with me being trans, because later he wanted to hold hands, but he has his own commitment issues. Guys have commitment issues, especially in Berlin. There's so many commitment issues here. And And it's a trap. Ladies, it's a trap. If you date people here, they look fucking amazing. Sorry, I just swore. They look amazing, but they all have commitment issues. And he's actually, so it's his commitment issue. And I was like, all right, well, you got to like deal with your thing. I got to deal with mine. And let's talk on Wednesday to kind of detangle this and understand each other. And I think that's a really positive aspect to managing communication in relationships. When it's highly emotionally loaded, sometimes it's like, okay, cool, let's talk. And then let's think about this and talk some more so we can untangle it more. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for checking in today, and I send you love. I will be recording some more episodes this week. I don't know what I'll be talking about, maybe more relationship stuff because it's on my mind. Let me know what your thoughts are, because I'd love to hear how your experience is with your own tragedy voice, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.